The fragrant flower blooms with dignity, episode 3. So we have Usumi and Rintaro kind of like trying to plot about like going to the teacher's office because it's cool there, because it's hot, hot day, and they come to realize that, listen, things to look forward to while they're in school is the sports festivals. So they go in and they talk to the teacher about like the sports festivals, and the teacher's like, yeah, you guys are not gonna be allowed to participate. And it's like, wow, wow, like the teacher kind of knows them so well. He's like, your grades are not up to par, and seemingly the way you guys are going, it's not gonna be looking likely that you'll pass the midterm. So you'll probably have to do some makeup exams for during the sports festival stuff. So Usumi makes it kind of his mission to uh, pass at all costs, because even like getting the teacher to promise that he'll give them a reward if they do pass, and the teacher's like, well, if you win, I'll buy you some ice cream or something. And that's enough to motivate Usumi to want to do well, and he tries to get Saku to teach him and help him study, but Saku's kind of reluctant to do that because last time he did, they still ended up failing, and they got into like a little bit of beef, like, or a little bit of like squabble, where like they Usami and Rintaro kind of had to go off on their own to the library to study, and it was like disappointing because Usami and Rintaro could not solve any of the problems. They were like bashing their heads against the walls, and one of the during this time, Rintaro actually got a message from his mother, like, "Hey, you should tell, uh, you know, Kaoru to come to the bakery. Like, we're having a special this week, so or today, so you should tell her to come over. I haven't seen her in a while." And it's so interesting seeing Rintaro try to get talk to Kaoru through text message, and as he sent her the message, it was like, oh, she's not responding back to me. Did I say something wrong? Like, you could instantly see Rintaro kind of doubted or started questioning, like, if she even wanted to talk to him or any of that sort. But then she replied like she was busy, and now we're back to the library. And Rintaro kind of just tells Susumi, listen, uh, I am looking forward to it. I know Saku's not really helping us right now, but like, he cares about us too, and he wants us all to be there, but he's just too hard headed to get look past what you said to him. And if someone's like, yeah, well, you know what, I'm also looking forward to the sports festival. It's like, I know you're gonna be there, so I'm even more pumped. I'm gonna go apologize and bring him back. And I love that Rinser stays there trying to study, and then he sees two girls just walk by and see that there's no seats open, and he just up gets up and leaving them seats open. And the girls are kind of like, wow, he's so kind, like we didn't even get to thank him for that. But it's so interesting that Rintaro walked away from this scene and is like not even realizing that the girls even like acknowledge that he did a kind thing for them. He's so focused on the fact that people always mischaracterize him, that he didn't even give him the time of day. He just up and left. And he he spots Karuku teaching Madoka in a section of the library, and I love that Rintaro got to see a different side of her, like a bit more unpolite or a bit more friendly side, something that he hasn't really gotten to experience because she's always kind of like proper with them, trying to not sound as unfriendly as possible. But he is one of those things where he got to see that how she normally behaves with people she trusts. So it was nice seeing that. And they mentioned that she was at the top of the school, which already you have Rintaro already going back, reverting back to his old habits, where like he just hears that and questions like, man, what am I really doing here? Like, she's from Kyoko, I'm from Shidori, and not only that, but like, I'm like the lowest of the people in Shidori. Like, well, what could possibly go on between us? Like, we live in like once again, he's like we live in two different worlds, and yeah, he's just once again just sees her for the cupboard that she holds up. Like, he thinks she's rich, smart, and meanwhile he's this delinquent like character. So he just goes outside and he lays down on a bench, and when he comes to, Kuroko's there, kind of goes and talks to him. It's like, I kind of noticed you were there, and or somebody resembling you, and you know I decided to come out here and have my snack. And this is where Rintaro kind of like note finds out more about Kuroko, and how she's not a rich snobby girl like he thought she was. She actually works part-time job. She's on a scholarship at this school, and she's actually trying her hardest to stay at the top of the class, because her scholarship relies on her continuing to get good grades, and it just really puts a damper into like how Rintaro was thinking. And it's like, man, I am so lame. I reverted back that to the people I once criticized for criticizing me. And it's it's just so nice that Rintaro is going through this and really starting to realize how badly wounded he is from his childhood, like, and how he's still having to catch himself at times as he reverts back to that hurt hurt person. And he really does point out, like, even himself, he says that he's been looking at her through like tinted lenses. So it's like, yeah, he wasn't really trying to he wasn't really trying to look past what he saw. He wasn't really trying to he wanted to learn more about her, but at the same time he wasn't looking past her initial appearance. And he hates that about himself. He constantly, once again, like I said, he does not like this side of him. And I love that Karoko is the one that's like getting him to realize parts of himself that he hates, parts of himself that he's gonna change, that he wants to change. And he even like finally gets a little vulnerable with her as he realizes she's in good students. He kind of like asks her like, hey, is it possible, I know our schedules don't really uh coincide, or don't really we don't really have a lot of free time that we can schedule, but can you perhaps teach me how to study? He's like, I have friends, I don't want to disappoint. and and then as they're getting to talking, the main character, one of my favorite characters, arrives. One It's Subaru. He arrives and instantly is kind of looking at Rentaro like with this menacing look. And it just like, wow, she just goes in and it's like, well, are you perhaps from Shidori? And instantly you get to see once again that school propaganda of like, the Shidori kids will make you stupid. The Shidori kid don't get involved with Shidori kids kind of comes into play once again. And you can really see that the side that Rintaro thought that Kikyo school was basically about, starts to really surface through Subaru. and and then of course Rintaro's friends start showing up as soon as he gets confronted with Subaru. They kind of arrive and try to save the day. And I love that one of these instances, like, they're all getting made fun of, and as Subaru tries to get away from from them with Kuroko, Saku just points out about her hair and how uncanny it is, and how like and how weird it looks. And basically it you can really start to see that Subaru has this thing with her hair where you see her face and how it goes from this menacing "I hate you" look to this kind of like not softer side, but like a more like, oh, he's making fun of me side, like he like a hurt side. Like you can see that this her hair is like one insecurity she actually really has. And just it coming from a person from Shidori, just Sako really brought out like what she feared Shidori kids were like, and is showing it at the forefront, which is not, which is really interesting. We have from their side, Saku kind of brought out what the initial what people think Shidori's all about, and then Subaru brought out what the Chidori kids thought Kikyo girls were about. So I love that these two kind of had a little spat with one, or like this kind of meeting with one another, and then before Saku said anything that was more outrageous, like Rintaro kind of tells him, "Hey, you need to drop this. It's like you aren't the type to attack people for how they look. This is so uncool of you, dude." And I just, it just really, I love that both this moment was kind of like spoken out, and then Usami kind of apologizes for the way he behaved when Karako was at the entrance waiting for Rintaro, which then Karako kind of apologized for causing all this. Well, she apologized for causing all the problems prior before, but also Rintaro was the one that kind of took the initial blame. Was like, listen, I'm the one that talked to her. I I'm the one to blame for like what's happening. And then Karako kind of like realized, well, he did this for me, but she also apologized for how messy things got because of her. And even though Subaru did not like that, she was like, you shouldn't really be apologizing to them. These are people that are barbaric, and they don't understand when they hurt you. They just do it without, they just do things without thinking. And it really goes to show how much Subaru actually was very defensive towards her, and how much he really wants to protect Karoko from them. But at the same time, it does show like an ugly side that probably she has gotten from Kikyo Academy. And I love that Saku was the one that was protected towards Rintaro in their little exchange prior. So it's really amazing, just these two characters. And Kikoro and Kikoro, Karoko and Subaru are kind of like talking, and then she asks him, "Hey, what's he like, the blonde haired guy?" Because I love that Rintaro was the one that made such an impression on her because of how kind he is, that she almost wanted, aside from everybody else, he was the one that she actually wanted to find out more about, and why Karoko was so nice being, so pleasant being around him. And Karoko just replies, "He's the kindest," and she brought up this smile that Subaru instantly realized something was amiss with her. Like Subaru probably realized, oh, she actually might have feelings for him, and that really was really interesting to see then and there, like just the expressions that Subaru has been making and how they changed. And we have this nice talk afterwards with Rintaro and Karoko, where they're like talking about what happened, apologizing because uh one Karoko once again feels kind of bad that Rintaro had to take all the blame for himself and put everything on his shoulders again. And I I love that throughout this call, Rintaro's kind of realizing, oh man, I'm really starting to feel a certain way whenever I'm talking to her. And at one point, he kind of realized that she wasn't necessarily being uh, close to him or talking to him in a way that made him feel kind of distant, that made her put some distance between them. And that kind of is like, oh man, I thought we were much closer than this. Like, and it really brought out, like, okay, maybe she, something's happening where she kind of is taking her distance. And then Ritsuo kind of like points out, like, listen, I think, I know this might sound crazy, but do you think you can talk to me as if I was one of your friends? Kind of like he's really trying to move past the barriers that they're in, that he feels has been in place. And not only that, he's also trying to be a bit more vulnerable with her. So the fact that he felt like there was a wall put up was making him want to regress back. But instead of like regressing back, this is like the first instance where he's like, listen, I kind of want to talk to you like as if we're friends, like as if we know each other, as if we're more than just acquaintances. He doesn't want to be just the guy that happens to be at the bakery when she's there, so she talks to him. He wants to actually get closer to her. And I love how after the call ended, both of them were kind of like, oh, I hope he didn't. She's like, I hope he didn't get see how my face was, and he was like, I wonder how her face was when I asked her this. Like all things that they couldn't really, they wouldn't be able to notice if they, because they were talking on the phone, not through like FaceTime or video chat. And I love they have this emphasis on like the minutes that they were talking. Like it wasn't long, but like those like 9 minutes felt felt and meant the most to both of them. And it just really goes a long way of, oh, this is how this is their initial conversation of many to be have. And um I love that the episode ends with Subaru in her desk looking at a picture of her with Karuko when they were young. So like we know that their friendship isn't just from the school; it goes way beyond that, and they probably have a lot of history and a lot of uh. They had known each other for a long time, so it's no wonder she was so defensive towards her. And yeah, no, I really enjoyed this episode. Another 10 out of 10 for me.